Have you ever been out late at night and had the irrational feeling something was out there? After all, who knows what lurks in the darkness beyond our senses? These dudes are out there lurking. But okay, what are these things supposed to be? What evidence for their existence is allegedly out there? And if one fell over, could it get back up? All these vital questions and more shall be answered in this entry into the archive. Our story begins in 2007, when an unknown individual living in Fresno, California checked their backyard security camera and allegedly discovered this. What looks like a pair of pants, just going for a stroll. This blurry video was the internet's first glance at the unusual and frankly hilarious cryptid now known as the Fresno Nightcrawler. For those of you who don't know, the term cryptid refers to any organism whose existence hasn't yet been proven by science. As you can imagine, the sheer strangeness of these supposed cryptids compared to the more familiar ones, like say, the Loch Ness Monster, has captured the imagination of many individuals on the internet, and might I just say that I completely understand. Allegedly, these nightcrawlers stand at about 3 feet tall, with a white body and disproportionately long legs. Most portrayals of the creature created in reaction to the footage portray the being with 2 black eyes, which can't be discerned in the original video due to poor quality. But this blurry footage isn't the only evidence of the supposed organism. We also have this other piece of blurry footage. Allegedly captured in Yosemite National Park a few years later, this video shows what seems to be 2 similar creatures once again just taking a stroll. Their overall gait looks even stranger than in the first video, and their bodies appear even more fabric-like. In this footage, we can also see one nightcrawler appears to be much bigger than the other. This is a pattern consistent across the many sightings and eyewitness testimony. There's something about this dynamic which almost seems like a parent and child, a bizarre concept, but one I admit I find strangely wholesome. And the most recent footage of these alleged beings comes from Montana, holding the special distinction of being the blurriest video of them all. Here, we can barely make out what seems like a single Fresno Nightcrawler just sort of shimmy into view and then shimmy back into the darkness outside of the camera's radius. According to a dubious report attached to the footage, a deer carcass was found nearby the next morning, with the implication being the Fresno Nightcrawler somehow hunted it down. Although likely intended to be frightening, I find this addition really amusing, as it makes me wonder how the creature was supposedly able to kill a deer using nothing but its spindly legs. It's an image that's gonna stay with me for sure. And that's all the major pieces of footage we have, although scattered eyewitness accounts have also cropped up over the years. Thinking about all 3 of these supposed pieces of documentation, one thing in particular I like about these alleged beings is that they don't seem to be camera shy. Most historic cryptids, like Bigfoot, are usually portrayed as being scared of being caught on film, or at least skittish around humans in general, which lends some credibility to the idea that that's why we've never found one. But in all the footage we have of nightcrawlers, these little dudes seem like they couldn't care less if someone is watching. They just stroll around wherever they please. In the footage from 2007, you can even hear a dog barking and a car passing if you listen closely. But the Fresno Nightcrawler just keeps on rolling, not a care in the world. So stepping back from all this evidence, what is the most likely explanation behind the footage? Well, as much as I'd like to say there's nothing about these videos at all that seems like a hoax, that's pretty clearly what this is. Everything from the suspiciously blurry footage to the fact it's difficult to confirm where any of these videos actually originate from to the blunt fact that the creatures in the video move an awful lot like puppets with the wires edited out is enough to raise a few eyebrows at the very least. But it's a very fun idea for a hoax, and one which I'm glad has produced so many great interpretations. Still, it's my duty as an archivist to assert the hoax theory is by far the most reasonable conclusion anyone would draw from these videos. But that's no fun, so I'm going to take a moment to talk about less likely but far more entertaining theories which have emerged regarding what it is we're seeing in this footage. And prepare yourself because some of these get a little wild. Perhaps most convincingly, I've heard theories that although the videos are obviously faked, some eyewitnesses might have actually seen something real. Not a cryptid, but a type of crane, which they mistook for a skinny, 2-legged, otherworldly being. At first, this explanation seemed odd to me, but the more footage I looked at, the more I could see how, late at night, someone might mistake the outline of a crane as something Nightcrawler-shaped. Getting into weirder territory, one of the more common theories you can find is that these little dudes are in fact visitors from the vast expanse of stars above. I would argue that it seems unusual that aliens advanced enough for interplanetary space travel would touch down only to take a leisurely stroll. I'm not an alien, so I can't be certain, and hey, maybe they enjoy a nice walk just like we do, but I wouldn't call any of this footage hard proof of extraterrestrials. Beyond aliens, however, another relatively common theory is that the Fresno Nightcrawlers are a hereby undiscovered species of animal. It's certainly true that in the natural world, many strange forms of life exist. But a mouthless, armless, torso-less land animal hereby unknown to science despite moving at roughly 2 miles an hour does seem unlikely, to say the very least. Another biological explanation I've heard put forward is that what we're seeing is some sort of undiscovered species of fungus. A cool idea. I'm not an expert on fungus, but I don't feel I'm overstepping when I say I doubt any strain of mushroom, no matter how fantastical, is likely to go on a midnight walk. Although I wish they would, that would be great. And the final theory I'd like to touch on, and my personal favorite, is that what we're seeing in this footage looks like a pair of pants because that's what they are. Ghost pants, that is. Why would ethereal pants walk through the mortal realm? Who's to say? Maybe they weren't machine washable, and yet someone threw them in anyways, and now they haunt the streets they used to walk when they were attached to a human's legs. Or maybe they were sold at 50% off and felt offended. Maybe not the most likely theory, but definitely one I think is the most fun and most creative. In the end, regardless of their true authenticity, Fresno Nightcrawlers can be real in our hearts. These little dudes might not look much like real organisms or real in general, but they do look wonderful. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please lend your support and like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon to stay up to date on all things curious. See you in the next video.